Warning, Prospect Watch is not your average hockey podcast, and that's okay with us. Our goal is to introduce you to stars in the making from all over the world. They may not be household names yet, but we assure you they will be soon enough. Welcome to Prospect Watch.
Hello and welcome to Prospect Watch, a podcast that focuses solely on the discovery and promotion of some of the best young talent in the game today from all reaches of the world. I'm your host, Lance Green, and of course, joining me as always is my co-host, Steel. Steel, how are you?
Oh, my man, I'm doing great. I'm super excited about this show, man. We got some great prospects for you. We've been doing a series on this, the top 5 in each position, and I think this one is a little bit near and dear to the writer extraordinaire's heart here, I think. What do you think, Lance? This one here, top 5 goalies. Oh,
yes. So if you read any of my articles, guys, you know that I've been a goaltender for more than 30 years now, and I've coached goaltending and everything else. That blue paint is my home. So this is a neat one for me to do. I'm excited to get into this. So
yeah, man, there's quite a few goalies on this list that could have made the list. There's some as far as eligible goalies as well too. And as we've done in the past, this is all about the prospects. It's all about the top 5 prospects in each of the positions in this series. We've done the centers, and then we've done the wingers, and now we're going to do goaltenders, our top 5 for each of the goaltender positions that we are going to talk about here in this one. And Lance, the writer extraordinaire, wrote an article that posted out onto the SteelFlyers.com website, posted just today, this morning? Or no, last night.
Last night sometime.
Yeah, last night sometime. Yeah, in the wee hours while we were all sleeping, the writer extraordinaire was posting articles out there about his top 5 goalie prospects for the Prospect Watch. So, just like Lance said, man, these guys might not be household names yet, but they soon will be. And we're ready to get into this, Lance. And I'll tell you what, we're going to follow the same format that we followed the last 2 shows, where we start with number 5 first and then go to number 1. All right?
Sounds good.
So, Lance, as in the previous shows with the centers and the wingers, do you have a honorable mention goaltender?
I do. Now, honorable mention, I always like to give at least, one guy that just on the outside of the top 5, maybe for me. And this one is Damian Clara. He's an Italian goaltender, a big goaltender at that. 6'6", 207. All right. And I do like him. He's playing in the SHL a little bit over there anyway, in the minor leagues currently. He's up and down or whatever like that this season. But he did pretty well at World Juniors in the Division B bracket, and kind of made a name for Italy. And it'd be good to see, some Italian flavor in the, pros, right? Like,
molto bene.
there's not that many, huh? So that's my honorable mention.
Very good.
Yeah. So I do like him. I think he's going to be a good prospect. I don't know how far he'll get, being that, he's Italian. It's going to be a long road ahead of him probably to come on over. But things look good right now.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I like that. As far as honorable mentions, I don't usually carry one, but I think I will throw one out there just because this is somebody that you've written about before in the past. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Devin Levi, oh my gosh, man. He was the MVP for the Beanpot tournament. And just played his heart out. And I know, Lance, you wrote an article about him too, and he was somebody that we talked about in the draft before, and we even talked about him a little bit before the show too. So I just want to get the name out there. I think he should be on the list. He should be on somebody's draft board sometime, somehow, someday.
Well, he's drafted. He's just, it was like a 7th round draft pick. So
he was. Okay.
He was drafted by Florida. Then he got traded to Buffalo. But he's sitting idle, right now, waiting for his chance. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I didn't realize he was drafted. I'm sorry. I thought he wasn't drafted. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there you go, man. How about that? Another one that's taken off the board. Well, we're
Mhm.
going to talk about some goalies that haven't been drafted yet, that haven't been taken off the board. And we're going to do our top 5, and we're going to start with Lance's number 5. So what do you think? You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's
So my
go.
number 5 for this list is a uh, prospect named Jacob Fowler. He plays for the Youngstown Phantoms of the USHL. He catches left. He's 6'2", 201 pounds, 18-year-old. And this season, he's played in 30 games and has a 2.36 goals against average and a 921 save percentage. And he has 5 shutouts so far this season. Pretty impressive, pretty impressive. And a total record of 18-8-3 on the season. Now he's committed to Boston College next year. And I put him on this list because I think he has one of the best glove hands in this draft. I really think he has some left-hand larceny in him, as our good friend Jim Jackson would say.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because he catches left. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yes.
For your number 5, Jacob Fowler. You know what, Lance? I got to tell you, I 110% agree with this pick as well. Because guess who my number 5 pick is? Why, it's Jacob Fowler from the Youngstown Phantoms. Hey, what do you know? Here's the thing, right? So I did it as very similarly to how you broke them down. I broke them down by skill, talent, and then I started really deep diving into the analytics and the numbers, right? And then I watched some of their highlights. Okay, so that's how I judge that's how I judge. And I usually start with this huge long list. Like I started with 20 guys, right? And then I whittle it down until I finally get 5 guys. So I got 5 guys. And number 5 for me is exactly Jacob Fowler. Okay. With 30 games played, he's got a 2.36 goals against average with a 921 save percentage. Okay. And you already said, his record already 18-8-3, right? With 5 shutouts. I mean, come on. And the kid's not necessarily playing with jokers now. Okay, this is a serious situation here now. Youngstown Phantoms, United States Hockey League, right? And the fact that he's committed to Boston College for next year, that bodes well for this young man. Okay, I like the fact that he's from Florida, right? So he's a United States born player that is from Florida. You know what I mean? So that's good to see. We like to see those guys coming up from Florida. You know what I mean? But
all the random states, are starting to get in. You seeing guys from Texas and everywhere, all over the United
California, right? Arizona.
Yeah, it's not just the Michigans and North Dakotas and stuff like that anymore.
Right, the Minnesotas and stuff. Yeah. Right, exactly. Right. So, but he is my number 5 on my goalie list is Jacob Fowler, and for those very reasons too. He'll probably go at some point. I believe maybe he's actually projected to go a little higher than maybe what we haven't picked. You know what I mean, as far as goaltenders are concerned. But we'll see how he goes.
All right.
All right, Lance. So, you want to go for number 4, or do you want me to?
You can go shoot for 4.
All right, I'll shoot for 4. So, I went way out there, outside the box, but I got to tell you something here. This is a 20-year-old from Finland. Okay, Juha Jatkola. Okay, he's playing in the Liga for the for Kalpa, right? That's who he's playing for right now for the Liga, right? 6'1", 176 pounds. Okay, he's 20 years old, right? And he was born in Finland. Okay, so he's from Finland. He plays for their national team. He's their national goalie for Finland. Right now, he wasn't able to play in the World Juniors this year because he's too old for the World Juniors, but he did play last year in the World Juniors for Finland and played very well. Okay. I'm really like this. He's another lefty. Every single one of the goalies that I have selected are lefties, every one of them. Okay. But he's 19, 11, and 7 in the Liga. Okay. As a 20-year-old, that's pretty good. That's good competition that he's playing up against. Okay. Some of the saves that he's made have been woo. All right. Yeah, I like it. He stands tall. He's 6'1", but he stands tall in the net. You know what I mean? Good challenger. But he's got 4 shutouts on the year. So that's who my number 4 is. Juha Jatkola from Finland.
Yeah. Yeah. Say that 5 times fast.
No.
Yeah. Don't want to.
I don't want to.
Yeah, he had a good standing at World Juniors last year. He had under 2 goals a game. He was putting out there, and he's played in the Liga. This is his part of his third season in the Liga, so he has been playing professional for a while. So it could be.
Games.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a late bloomer. Who knows?
It could be, yeah, but he's got 38 games, 2.20 goals against, and a .904 save percentage. So that's not bad for 19, 11, and 7 with 4 shutouts.
Right. Not bad.
Not bad, right? All right, here we go. Lance, number 4.
All right, so my 4th best goaltender on my list out of this draft would be Adam Jajan, Slovakian.
Say that 4 times real fast.
I don't want to. All right. So he's currently playing for the Green Bay Grapplers of the USHL. He catches left. He's 6'4", 176 pounds, and he's 18 years old. Currently with that team, he's only played in 6 games because he was playing somewhere else beforehand. He's played in 6 games, 2.48 GAA with a 9.06 save percentage. He's got 1 shutout, and his record is 5-1-0. He had a great World Juniors, all right, where played in 4 games there. He had 2.40 goals against average and 9.36 save percentage with a shutout. Went 2-2-0, and he's committed to Minnesota Duluth. So they're a pretty predominant team in that NCAA, and I think he'll be able to grow his game the rest of the season with the Gamblers. He's still trying to get used to that North American game. It's his first time over here. He is projected to be a little higher on most people's list, but what I didn't like about him, as most players like the one you just mentioned, when they're so young over in the European leagues, they'll push them. They'll push them up to the pro leagues if they think they're ready. And, in Slovakia, he's had a dip or 2 into the 3rd tier professional league up there, and he just got rocked. Adam did. So, maybe he's not ready quite yet, but, he looks solid. He looks solid, especially against kids his own age. So I think he'll get there in time, Doing a year or 2 in college will be pretty good for him.
Funny you mentioned that, because that's the only other name that we agreed on this list. Okay, but I don't have him in that position that you have him.
All right.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. So number 4 is, say that last name again. I just want to hear it.
I don't want to. Gajan. Gajan?
I don't know. Gajan? Yeah. Gajan? He's from
most
Czechia?
People pronounce it a little bit differently. Nope, Slovakia.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, Adam, right, for you as number 4 from the Green Bay Gamblers.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool. So that's your number 4. All right. Cool. So now we're going into number 3. Okay. Do you want to do number 3 first, or do you want me to?
I will. I'm excited about this one.
Yes, you do number 3 first.
All right. So my number 3 pick is probably the guy I am most excited about. I think he's underrated, being that he plays in a preparatory high school league.
Yeah, young.
But but we'll go with it, and I think he's got a lot of talent. So his name is Calvin Vauchoux. Uh, okay, he is the grandson of the great Hall of Fame Kings goaltender Rogie, right?
Oh, so that's Falcon.
Yeah, Falcone. So he's amazing, amazing young kid. He's classically trained by his grandfather, and he's 6 foot tall, 161 pounds. He's only 17 years old, where a lot of these guys are 18 or even older. And right now in this preparatory high school league for St. Mary's, he is 18-0-0. He's got a record of 2-0-4 goals against, 2.04 goals against average, a 927 save percentage, and he has 6 shutouts on the year. All right. In the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, he played in before the start of the season. He played in 2 games where he was 2.59 GAA with a 868 save percentage, going 1-1-0. Like I said, he's the grandson of Rogie, amazing goaltender, Hall of Famer, and he I would say he's a phenom. If you look at this kid's numbers from when he was like 13, 14 years old.
Oh my gosh, they jump off the page.
He was like less about a half a goal a game over the course of 50 some games. Like he was just,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, this kid is amazing, amazing talent. I think he's going to go late in the draft because he is not playing for a dominant CHL team or a USHL team where he's going to get a lot of big exposure. Yep. So, but I think he's going to get taken, and I think whoever does is going to have a great young goaltender on their hands there. He's one of my favorite in the whole draft.
I'm with you on that for sure. And I looked hard at this one too, because for number 3, I too have a 17-year-old. Okay. So that's why I looked at him. It was a toss-up between these 2 guys, right? And I went with Adam Dayball. Okay. A 17-year-old. He's 6 foot, 163 pounds. He's from Chechnya. Okay. Ostravia. Chechnya is where he's born, right? 25-13-0 with 8 shutouts. This kid played in 38 games and has a 1.78 GAA. Dang! I mean, all right, at 17. Okay, he's playing for the Energy Karlovy Vary under 20 for Chechnya under 20 national team, right? He's got a .943 save percentage. I'm going to read that number off again. .943 save percentage. That means that this kid just shuts it down. Every single video that I watched of this kid he just took over the game. Like, you couldn't do anything. You could see other teams frustrated as they're skating by. They just pepper this kid, and it's like, nothing's going in. Sorry. You're just not going to get it to go in. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? So that's who my number 3 is. I really was impressed with this kid. When I started looking at this, and I went, wow. He has one of the lowest percentages as far as goals against in all of the goalies in the draft. He also has one of the highest save percentages of all the goalies in the draft. Okay. And another lefty, go figure. That's who my number 3 is, Adam Dayball.
All right. I can respect that.
right?
Do you want me to do number 2, or do you want to do number 2?
I want to do number 2 because we've already heard this name before.
Okay.
Okay, and it's Adam Gajan. Okay, you have him at number 4. I have him at number 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I was that impressed with watching this kid play. He was another one of those goaltenders that took over the game, that you couldn't get anything by. In every single video that all the highlights that you watch of him, he is just in perfect position at all times. Okay, that's hard. That's hard to do. That's good fundamentals. When you have those good fundamentals like that, you know what I mean? He has a good glove hand, right? He's okay with the stick. Like, I don't need you out there being Marty Brodeur. Okay, I need you in between the blue paint. Okay, right. I don't need you out there on the wall. I need you in the blue paint, right? So let the defenseman do that kind of stuff. I really like this kid. I have him a little higher on my board as far as where I have him ranked. But just like you said, man, this kid playing for the United States Hockey League is going to be a lights out goalie, I think, at some point. You know, they all take a little bit of time to develop, and he's going to be one of those guys that I think is going to be ready sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think a year or two in the NCAA will do him good, and we'll see where he's at. You know, he's going to be.
Or he's not committed. But he's playing from Chechnya, so I think he's going to get drafted this year. I don't see him committed to anybody.
Adam's committed to Minnesota Duluth.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, my mistake.
Yep.
So yeah, we're on number 2. I read the wrong Adam. See, I have 2 Adams on my list.
All right.
I have Adam Dayball and Adam Gajan.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, so yeah, he is committed to Minnesota. So yeah, and that's a good program up there too. Yeah. Right? So he'll get good talent around him, and he'll face good talent. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, he's just got to get used to playing on that smaller North American ice. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, bring it down small. We got you. Bring it down small. All right. Here we go, folks. Lance's number 2.
All right, my number 2 goalie on my list is Kenneth Trey Augustine from the United States National Development Team. He catches left. He's a 6'1" goaltender, 179 pounds. He's 18 years old. His stats are pretty darn impressive this year. He's undefeated, 23-0-2 in the United States National Development Team. Right? He's 2 goals. 2.12 goals against average with a .936 save percentage right now. His only loss this season has come in the World Juniors, where he was facing Connor Bednard and Team Canada. So
all right, he gets a pass on that.
Right. So they won bronze.
Yeah.
And he finished that with a 4-1-0 record at the World Juniors. He's committed to Michigan State. And they're going to have 2 great goaltenders there, as we've talked on our show previously, to another one that is going to Michigan State as well. So they're going to be loaded in goal. And, Kenneth is a solid goaltender. You know, if you're playing for the national development team, you're the best of the best. They pick so many guys. That team is so deep. Every year now that you see at least 5 to 7 guys come off that team in the first 2 rounds alone, of the draft. And there's a reason for it. Those guys are just polished by the time they get there.
I mean, all you have to do is look at the results of some of those guys that have now been that are now in the hockey league, the NHL, and just look at the talent and what they have. And it's oozing. So I'm with you. And we've talked about the development of the United States Hockey League and their development league and all of that, and how great of a league that is for players to get into. And you're starting to see now more and more players coming from Europe are coming over and playing for some of these U.S. development teams and are going to some of these colleges and going to some of these Division 1A schools so that they can learn and play and get better instead of doing it over in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's been what's been impressive with what's been going on here with the United States hockey teams and their development teams and and that whole situation. So good on you guys for that. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
You want to do number one?
Sure.
All right. I'll do number one first.
All right.
All right, because I know how excited you are about your number one. Okay. So my number one goaltender is Arthur Smith from the NHL. Okay. When I started looking at this young man, he plays for the Lone Star Brahmas. Okay. He also played for the Olympic team this past year. Played for the United States Olympic team. Okay. And I got to tell you something, man. This guy, to me, as far as I'm concerned, is impressive as far as a goaltender is concerned. He's got good position. He's got good anticipation. He doesn't drop right away to the butterfly. He tries to anticipate. He challenges shooters. Okay, he's an 18-year-old, 6'3", 194 lefty from Farmington, Connecticut. Another United States out there state that's producing a hockey player, right? This young black man was inspired by Willie O'Ree, and he had a great tribute that he put out there for Willie O'Ree as to why he got into hockey. Okay. And I tell you what, man, this kid is inspiring and this kid is exciting. He's 15-4-0 with 6 shutouts. I mean, for 25 games played, he's got a 1.51 goals against. He's got the second lowest GAA in all of goaliedom for this draft. Okay. He's also got a .92 save percentage. Okay. So my number one goaltender, top prospect goaltender for this draft, who I think will go at least in the first round of this year's draft or early second round, depending on how drafts go. If goalies are going to be one of the things that they're going to be taking, to me, I think he's going to be the first goalie that's going to go.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that league that he plays in isn't as strong as others. So that could hurt his stock a little bit.
It could, yeah.
But we'll have to see, but numbers don't lie, success doesn't lie. So, all right.
All right, Lance.
So
here we go.
Yeah.
You're number one.
My number one pick is Scott Ratzloff.
Yes.
From the WHL Seattle Thunderbirds. Now he catches left. He's a 6'1" goaltender. He weighs in at 172 pounds. He's only 17 years old. And this year he's played in 27 games where he has a league leading 2.07 GAA and a .922 save percentage. He's recorded 5 shutouts with a record of 26-0.
All right. Man.
So let's just ponder on this a little bit, because you got to think he plays in the WHL, which has guys like first round talent alone this year is going to have Connor Bednard. You're going to have Zach Benson. He's got a face every night.
Trust me, WHL is well represented in this draft, and they have been well represented on both of our lists in the previous shows as far as wingers and centers. So, yes, facing top tier A1 talent in the WHL.
Andrew Crystal, Riley Height, Braden Yeager, like all these guys are going to be drafted in the first round, and this is who this kid has to play on a nightly basis, and he's leading the league in goals against average. So, I think that says a lot. And what also says a lot to me is he's only 17, so he didn't get a chance to play at the World Juniors. But he had an amazing CHL top prospects game where he was going up again against Connor Bednar and stuff like that. and only let in one goal while he was in net during the top prospect game, right? All right. And on top of that, even to boot, when playing for Team Canada in the Halika Gretzky Cup this summer, he won all 4 games that he played in, and he recorded 2 shutouts in those 4 games, averaged a goals against average of 0.50 and a save percentage of 0.976. All right.
Oh my God. That is less than that's less than
perfect.
half a point. That's almost perfect. That's less than half a point a game.
Yeah.
Right?
And,
oh my gosh.
And almost 98% of his shots he stopped.
Stops. Oh man. Boy, that's pretty good.
In that tournament. So
right.
I think he's pretty darn good. I think he's going to go pretty high. Possibly in the second round. I think there's a lot of offensive talent in the first round that teams aren't going to want to pass up on.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this one too, Lance. When I started looking at these goaltenders and I went, wow, the first goaltender on the top 32 list. Now, look, we look at all the top prospect lists. We look at all the publications out there, you know what I mean? All the top ones we look at. Because that's the best stuff out there. That has all the best information. That's why we use them. You know what I mean? But when you start looking at this stuff and you go, wow, yeah, it's probably going to be second round until we see a goaltender go. You know what I mean? We might see one go late in the first round, but for the most part, I'm thinking we're probably not going to see any of these goalies really go in the first round. Do you know what I mean? Just because of that level of talent.
Statistically, there's not many goalies that go in the first round. If you're going in the first round, you got to be elite. You don't want to flub on it and get a Rick DiPietro and throw him in too early to the fire and ruin him. But I have to say, one of the names that may surprise a lot of people that's not on this list is Michael Harbell. He's a big-time goalie for Omaha. He's committed to Massachusetts. He's ranked probably by most experts as being the number 1 goalie available. But I just think there's a lot of holes to his game still. He does a lot of things well, but he does a lot of things not so well. At this time. So I see a lot of holes to his game. I think a lot of people are pumping him up mostly because he's 6'6" and over 200 pounds. And I think the NHL as a whole loves and has fallen in love with big goaltenders. And, size doesn't always equate to talent. All right. So think on that. And, I'd much rather have a guy like,
in any
Scott
sport
or somebody like that is stopping a lot more pucks than that big guy there. So anyway, that's our list. Please feel free to read that article where I go into a lot more depth explaining these picks and why I picked them in that spot. But, do your due diligence. Check out these guys. They're all great players. So,
I mean, for sure. That's the reason why we do this, right? Because these are the guys that we feel are the top 5 prospects for each of those positions. We will probably, by the time we're done, because we have defensemen left, right? So we'll probably have at least a pretty good list, a pretty good idea of who's all going to go, at least in the first round, for the first list of players here. You know what I'm saying? And to be quite honest with you, there's a lot of talent in this year's draft. And so I really like our lists. I like that there's some similarities, but then there's also some differences. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I like about doing this with you, Lance, is that we see things, although we do see things similarly, you see things a little differently than I see things. Do you know what I mean? And so I could tell that you were a little shocked by some of my picks.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I think at the same time, some people would be shocked at some of mine. I think,
okay.
Like Calvin is not rated very high on many people's list because he plays at that high school but I think, having that NHL pedigree that he has and being around true professionals like he was for so long
That
has
might be helpful.
really his game is solid. So,
Yeah, I'm with you.
his goaltending is the biggest guessing game because these guys tend to take a little bit longer to develop.
See, that's
And
the other thing right there,
you're
Lance. You said it.
projecting something out, a
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, look, none of these goalies, even if one of these goalies is drafted in this coming draft, none of them are going to be able to see the ice for the most part, at least for a couple of years. Because we're talking about 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. There's only one 20-year-old in this list, and most of all of our lists are 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds, right? And it's just like you said, Lance, it takes a little while for goalies, especially goalies, to get their game. Because first you learn how to play on the team that you're on. Then you learn how to play in the league that you're in against the talent that you're facing. Once you get used to that, then you can start improving your game. So goalies are constantly having to go through that, hey, I'm playing for a new team in a new league. Hey, I'm playing for a new team in a new league. Every other year they're playing for a new team in a new league. So first of all, you have to get used to all the players on your team, and you have to get used to playing the teams, and then blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's one of those. That's why it takes so long for goalies and defensemen to develop, because they don't get that consistency.
Well, yeah, you look at Marc-Andre Fleury, even, who was, drafted number 1 overall in 2003. He's still, even though he went number 1 overall and picked to the Penguins, who were pretty darn awful at that point, he still went and went back to juniors his first year. He went to play in the AHL for 2 seasons, parts of 2 seasons after that, before really getting going and starting, for the Penguins,
Exactly.
that 3rd or 4th year after
That's
he's
what I
been
mean.
drafted.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can't expect to be taking goalies even in the first round, even if they're picked number 1 overall, and expect them to be starting anytime soon. Just because they're young, they need time to develop, and they need time to work on their game and get their stuff right. You know what I mean? Lance, you know that way better than most of all of us because you play goal. You know what I mean? I mean, it takes how many games just to wear the pads in? Right?
Well, hopefully you got them broken a little bit ahead of time, but
yeah, but I mean,
so you're truly comfortable in them and everything
right.
else. Yeah, sure.
But that's what we're talking about. It's getting comfortable with your defensemen and knowing where they're going to be and being able to read the plays as they're coming at you. You know what I mean? And that's where goalie confidence comes from, because that when they know they're defensemen, then now they can challenge shooters. Now they can do those kinds of things and be in their game. The kind of, you know what I mean? That's so. All right. Well, what do you think, Lance? We got a pretty good list here.
For sure.
I think so too, right? So thank you all very much for checking out Prospect Watch, a show dedicated to finding the best prospects out there that you might not have heard of, but we assure you that you soon will know who these people are, because we're going to enlighten you on them. That's what we love doing here about this Prospect Watch show, is bringing you the talent and showing you these young prospects and about who these guys can do and what they can do in the next leagues to come. So thank you very much for checking us out. Lance, why don't you tell the folks where we can get you and where we can find all your great stuff?
Sure. You can always find all of my stuff, articles, and this show on SteelFlyers.com. You can also find it on on YouTube or any podcasting platform of your choice. And you can find all my stuff also on Twitter, where I post it at lance.green39.
Awesome sauce, man. Yeah, buddy. You can go to SteelFlyers.com website to find all of Lance's great articles for Prospect Watch, and not only that, but also for the Philadelphia Flyers. And you can also go to the SteelFlyers.com website to check out all of our latest shows from Prospect Watch at SteelFlyers.com/links/Prospect Watch. I'm SteelFlyers, your co-host. You can find me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52, and you can find all the great stuff from the Hockey Writers Inc. to the SteelFlyers podcast to the Prospect Watch to Perlo Wisdom and Peyton on the radio. All the great stuff here at SteelFlyers All Sports Network. Thank you very much for watching Prospect Watch. We'll catch you all on the next episode.